Please join us, celebrate, share, and watch these upcoming videos as we try to spotlight and illuminate some positive people in our community. Thank you for watching these videos from Higher Definition.
Hi, my name is Thommia Williams. I am from Columbia, South Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina, interesting story. What brought me to Charlotte, North Carolina is my parents, I went to college in Oklahoma to play basketball, and my parents relocated to Charlotte from Columbia. So when I was done with college, I thought I was coming back home to Columbia, but it was not Charlotte, North Carolina. You know, like everybody else, I guess. Two-parent household, I'll start from there. So I had that upbringing. I think that was to my advantage, actually. Grew up regular. We weren't rich. We weren't poor. We had some things, and we didn't have some things. But like I said, played basketball in high school. We were nationally ranked. You know, shameless plug. But ended up going to college in Oklahoma to play college basketball, and then fared very well on the basketball court. Not so well in the classroom. And so that's what sent me back to Charlotte prematurely. And I've been in Charlotte ever since 1994. Some advice I would give, I'm gonna start off with a funny story, is when I went to play college basketball in Oklahoma, I got one of those black mamas who should put it on you, for real. And so when I was in Oklahoma and I started doing some not so good things, they would call, and back then we had one phone in the dorm. So the people would say, "Hey, Thommia, your mom's on the phone." She had me so scared. So for the first semester, I actually was like a 3.8 student. Second semester, I realized that she's all the way in South Carolina. You're in Oklahoma. Oh, she can't get to you with that extension cord. So then once I realized that, things went south. But yeah, I would just say focus, man. Definitely focus. Obviously, listen to your parents. It's one of the things that I was just talking to someone last night about. People that love you will tell you the things you don't want to hear. And so your parents will always tell, my parents were always telling me you need to focus, but I was listening to everybody else, having fun, doing whatever. So focus and listening to your parents is definitely advice I would give about athletics, mixing athletics and academics. My business name is PW Logistics. You got the logo right here. Got started with an old high school basketball teammate. It's a trucking company. Got started with a high school teammate of mine, Herman Pringle. That's the P. I'm Thommia Williams. That's the W. PW Logistics. We were just kind of in the same path in life, and ironically, we weren't great friends after high school. We kind of knew each other and we stayed in touch. But over the years, we were kind of on the same path financially, and we were sharing things with each other about different savings metrics we were hitting. And we both knew what we were doing. I was working like 24/7 for like 5 years, 7 days a week, literally. And he was in Afghanistan doing contract work, so he was away from his family. So we knew that whatever the money that we had, we couldn't stop doing what we were doing without a plan. I don't care if you got $20,000 or $200,000. If you don't have a plan to execute and do something with that, it's going to slowly drain away. So we looked at several different options. Some of them was group home, also a laundry mat, and trucking. And we did our research and our due diligence, and we came up with trucking. We started in 2017, and we've been going strong. Well, let me not lie. I even say we've been going strong ever since. We've been going ever since. Strong a portion of the time. It feels how it feels to be an entrepreneur. It feels amazing in some regards, and in some regards it's tough. I think I've even shared on Higher Definition that I've been a guest on. It's been times I felt like I could have brought plane tickets for a whole neighborhood when things were going good. And then there's some days when I probably had to knock on the neighbor door and ask if they got a pack of ramen noodles. So it's a lot. I think at the end of the day though, when you start realizing what you were shooting for, which, all those cliche things people say, don't trade time for money, giving yourself freedom, and you started enjoying them, you realize this is what I'm doing it for. Sometimes you're so locked into the everyday to day of running a business, you forget about it. But even this year, I've realized it's taken me 3 or 4 years to realize now as an entrepreneur that I can go see my mother on a Tuesday. My mind is so locked in being an employee my whole life that even when you remove that, this will tell you like mental change too. I still work on a weekday to weekend basis. And it just really, on the last maybe year, I said, oh, I can do whatever I want to do on a Tuesday. Because I would wait till Saturday to do things. So that's one of the things I enjoy about being an entrepreneur is having the space and opportunity to not have to worry about days or whatever. You can do whatever you want to do, vacation or whatever. If I was giving advice to my younger self, I would think about one of my passions in life now for our community and young African-American men is talking about some of the generational curses and traumas that we go through. And I feel like us in the middle class, I would say middle to upper middle class, I feel like we're the lost people. Because people only talk about people who are doing very bad, like the kids that are in Chicago or Baltimore. Or it seems like we're in a culture where we talk about the Jay-Z's and the Beyoncé's and the Oprahs. And people just kind of like forget about us. I think they feel like you're doing okay financially in life. Things are going pretty good for you. But we have some of those same traumas and curses. And so even running a business, I've learned when my business is successful, that there's some other things in my life that I need to clean up or heal from. And I think that's a really lost thing, even with our parents. A lot of times people just think about supplying shelter and food and paying bills as being a parent. But it's, in my mind, the nuances of like the things you deal with and the things you go through and things that go on with the families. I think those are a lot of things that need to be addressed. And that's something that I would tell my younger self. The best way I can give back, being an entrepreneur, the best way I can give back to my community. I would answer that with, there's several ways. There's really no right or wrong answer. I think a lot of people look at giving back in different ways. I look at what I've started doing. I've always wanted to be part of like a Big Brothers or something, or like kind of mentor young men. And about 2 or 3 years ago, I realized that I know people who have sons. You know, I might have dated somebody who has a son, or my cousin has a son. And so I've decided, like, let's start there, actually. And me and my business partner, every week, we do something called we have an owners meeting where we go over the numbers and the metrics and the trends. And I've started inviting a young person, or a young woman, actually, it could be a young woman or a young man. I was focusing on young men at the time, but I've started inviting them in on some of our owners meetings because I think something that we don't do a lot either is focus on building entrepreneurship. A lot of times our parents just want us to go to college and get a good degree. So I brought a lot of kids, maybe at least once a month. I bring somebody under 18, sometimes even 11 or 12, and they can go to me and my business partner owners meeting. They see us go over numbers. They see us go over what happens with insurance and what happens with payroll. And 9 times out of 10, they come away from that that sparks up, and they'll be texting me throughout the year. Hey, how are your trucks doing? Did you guys bring down your insurance? And so, from my perspective, that's the way I want to give back to my community, is inviting young folks into an entrepreneurial world and putting that entrepreneurial spirit in their mindset at a very young age. I would just like to say, I would like to add that even with the answer that I said before, I'm really big, we only can pick so many things we can be big on. I'm really big with an entrepreneurial mindset in our community, not as a way of like casting aspersions on people who are employees, because I think you can do both. That's the thing. I think sometimes these books and these gurus, sometimes they make it seem like there's something wrong with having a job. That's absolutely not true. I think actually you should keep a job for years if you can lead into being an entrepreneur. But I do think something I've learned and something I maintain, and it may not be 100%. I'm sure if you're a high earner, you can get there. You can save for 40 years, you can get there. But it's very hard to get there working when you being one person, oneself, or even two people just working per hour. I even think of that a lot. Even when you're on salary, you're kind of per hour. We need to start looking at things. At the end of the day, I realized earlier in our trucking business, there was a couple times we made like $11,000 in a week. And I realized like, this is where I need to be now. we might have gave that $11,000 right back into something else. But I realized at that time, I wasn't working per hour anymore. And I had been in jobs where I worked salary. I think sometimes we kind of get mixed in between that. You're like, I got a good job. I worked some good jobs, good pay, salary. And, but I realized when I would look at my check, I had to be there to work. And then I would add to that, there was a time where over a weekend, me and my business partner were on vacation. And our trucks made us like $9,500 from Saturday to Monday. And we were out of the country. And so that was a moment when I realized, like, I need to create something, and I want to help people create something where they don't have to be there all the time to do the work to acquire the capital.